Hi everybody, I am just jumping on here to do a quick podcast on family courts, narratives and system questions. The opening to this podcast is there is something many people don't understand about family courts. They are not criminal courts. They do not determine guilt beyond reasonable doubt. They decide where a child should live based on the balance of probabilities. And that difference matters more than most people realise, because it means decisions are made in situations where certainty doesn't exist. So they can't really be certain that what is happening is the real truth. But that's not what they're there for. They're not there to find the real truth. The experience of parents. The question I want to ask is, what does this feel like for some parents? And the answer is, for some parents, it feels like a complete loss of their child. Not through disappearance, but through a system they cannot easily challenge. It can feel final even when questions remain unanswered. Narrative formation. The question is, how do narratives form? The answer: in any system, early narratives can be extremely powerful. Once a version of events is accepted, the mother's crazy, it begins to shape how all future information is interpreted. The mother's lying. Oh gosh, I must keep to script, but I have lived through this. So once a version of events is accepted, it begins to shape how all future information is interpreted. And over time, that narrative can become very difficult to shift. Once there's a written opinion about somebody in a report, that follows them through. These people can never change. It's so frustrating, I know. But we're here to help reform. We're not here to, throw anybody under the bus. Let's just put it that way. So the system uncertainty. The question is, what happens when serious concerns are raised but not fully resolved? The answer is, we have seen cases reported where serious offences were not fully acted on immediately, even where warning signs existed. This raises a broader question. What happens when systems must make decisions while uncertainty remains? The critical insight is the issue is not just what is proven. It is how systems respond to what is not yet resolved. Because decisions are made even without full clarity. The family court reality. The question is, what does this mean in family courts? The answer: it means decisions about a child's life may be made in the absence of a full investigation, within a welfare framework rather than a criminal one. And that distinction is often not understood by the public. The key structural issue: the concern does not have to be proven false for a parent to lose their child. It only has to be unproven. That is a very important distinction. the impact on the children, what does this mean for the child? The answer is the children grow up within the reality they are placed in. Their understanding of events is shaped by their environment. That is not a conscious choice, it is adaptation. When a child is separated from a parent, they adapt to the environment that they are in. And that is how the human brain protects itself. It is survival. I'm going to do another message to children. If you were a child who spoke up about something frightening, you did exactly what a child is supposed to do. Children are meant to tell someone when something feels wrong. If decisions were then made that changed your life, that responsibility does not sit with you. You were never the problem. The closing reflection is, the question is not whether systems make decisions. The question is how those decisions are made and what happens when they are based on incomplete or uncertain information. And sometimes the most important truth a child needs to hear is this: the person who tried to protect you never stopped loving you. I went through all of this, and I actually I didn't understand any of it. You know, I was brought up to believe that children are protected, and mothers have the power to protect their children. That's why we are mothers. That's why we give birth. We nurture and we protect. So all of this system for me was completely alien. But now they are actually doing there's a lady called Lisa Harker, who is the director of the Nuffield Family Justice Observatory. It's an independent organisation in the UK. It studies how the family justice system works. It uses data and research, and it advises on how to improve outcomes for children and families. So Lisa Harker isn't a campaigner. She's a credible, evidence-based voice. And there is a article in The Guardian on these the family court reform, how they've got these children's courts. So that's very interesting moving forward. So there are a lot of people now engaged in reforming the family court, because the outcomes for the children are just so painful, and they have to live with that for the rest of their lives. So can you please subscribe to my channel and like my channel, and share. I am going to go into more detail in my next podcast. I'm going to switch back onto, instead of the mothers reporting abuse, I'm going to go into the adoptions of children against the wishes of the parents. That still happens in the UK. So I think I'm going to spend a little time focusing on that next. Okay, I hope you like this podcast. See you soon. Bye.